Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. My name's Ed, and on the line as well today, we've got Steve McSherry, who's the country manager for UK and Ireland for Daktela, and we've got Roy Holmes, who's the professional services director, and going to be taking us through a little bit of a demo. So my colleague Raf's in the background. He's going to be managing letting people in so they can join the call. In terms of any questions, if you could raise any questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to monitor those questions as we go through the presentation today. So hopefully you can all see my screen. What we're going to take you through today is Contact for iPECS Cloud, and this is all about putting customer experience first. But let's look at a little bit of an agenda before we start. So I'm going to take us through a little bit of background, do some introductions and introduction of Daktela, look at some market trends to do with contact center, an overview of the product and what it can do, and look at the opportunity in the marketplace today. And then the really important part of today's session is Roy's going to take us through a demonstration for about 20 minutes of the product so you can see what it looks like and what it can do. And then Steve's going to wrap up with all about how to sell Contact for iPECS Cloud. So let's get started. I just wanted to start by looking at the background of our portfolio. So many of you have been selling iPECS for a long time, but I wanted to start by looking at the background of our portfolio. So as many of you know, we have iPECS Analytics in the portfolio, which covers historical reporting and also covers the real-time informal call center part of the portfolio. So you can use analytics for wallboards, for reporting in both that historical and real-time environment. And it has some ACD capability that it leverages from the iPECS Cloud platform. What we were lacking until very recently in the portfolio was a real-time formal contact center offering. So we looked at the market last year and we started to evaluate. We recognized this gap in our portfolio and we were looking to work with and partner with a company that were like-minded, but also with a fantastic product that was modular and more importantly also at the right price point. And we landed with Daktela and Contact for iPECS Cloud. That completes our portfolio now. So if we look at our portfolio from historical and informal and a formal contact center point of view, have it nicely sewn up. And today we're absolutely delighted to cover Contact for iPECS Cloud, which is powered by Daktela. It's a full omni-channel contact center solution that's seamlessly integrated into iPECS Cloud. So let's start with a little bit of background on Daktela. Now, both Steve and Roy are going to speak today, but just wanted to give you an overview of who Daktela are and why we're working with them. So Daktela were established in 2005 with head offices in Prague. They've got over 18,000 live agents across 20 countries. There's two offices here in the UK, one in Reading and one in Chester. And it really is, as you'll see in today's demonstration, a class-leading omni-channel contact center solution that incorporates voice, email, web chat, social media integration, such as Facebook and Instagram, WhatsApp, SMS, and there's a whole AI arm to the product as well, which we will briefly touch on today. Let's look at the market and what the opportunity is. So recently, many of you might be familiar with Cavell, the industry analysts. They had a Cloud Com Summit and they highlighted key market trends. And they highlighted the growth of contact center as the key market trend over the next couple of years. I think the pandemic accelerated the demand for better contact center solutions, all about that enhanced customer experience. And this is driven very much by a growing competitive market and the changing ways that businesses interact with their customers. I think many of you will be aware that there is no doubt the way businesses interact with their customers is changing, and this contact center market has more opportunity than ever. We've seen a big shift towards people wanting to integrate other types of media as well as voice into the way they integrate with their customers and manage it all in one place. And we've been to see several customers that this applies to. One that stuck in the mind recently was a customer that has an awful lot of inbound email traffic. They need to treat those emails with the same priority as their voice calls. And they're just using Outlook to manage that email traffic. They're using color coding, Outlook rules, which means people are cherry picking emails, leaving the difficult emails, and they're not getting things done within the relevant SLA periods. They also want to look at using AI and automation to manage responses to those emails automatically so they can get back to customers in a timely manner. And then in the future, looking to bring in other interactions such as SMS or WhatsApp. And we're seeing that as a growing trend, talking to many customers. If we look at the market opportunity today, it shows how important voice still is as a backbone. And there's a major trend of customers wanting to bring email and web chat into that as well as voice. As you can see, 75% of the market opportunity is voice, email, and web chat. But a growing trend that's already used by a quarter of the market is the integration of SMS, social media, WhatsApp, and CRM integration. And this really completes that experience for whichever type of customer you're talking to and however they want to interact with you. So as I mentioned, the Daktela Contact for iPECS Cloud is an omni-channel contact center solution. And let's look at the differences between multi-channel and omni-channel. Well, omni-channel is a solution that allows you one single software platform that combines and manages all of those different interaction channels in one place. Multi-channel is the same in terms of managing different interactions, but you can't manage them in the same place. You often manage them in different platforms from different providers, and there's no way of linking them together. So the huge benefit of omni-channel is you can measure all of your staff performance and all of your customer interactions in a single platform. This allows you to determine what employees are best at and the most effective channels of communication for your customers. But more importantly, it allows a constant level of service across all communication channels with customers. And you can see the stat on the screen that businesses with an omni-channel strategy increase customer retention year on year by 91% compared to multi-channel. So what are those different channels when we're talking about omni-channel? So first of all, we have voice. Contact for iPECS Cloud has inbound and outbound voice with call recording, with automated IVRs, and multiple intelligent call routing options such as skill-based routing, CLI-based, time of day, and all of this is editable in real time. There's callback in queue, there's intelligent missed call management, including automated callbacks and even outbound dialers when we're looking at the outbound. SMS integration can be one-way or two-way. It allows agents to handle multiple SMS chats simultaneously, and every single SMS conversation that happens is fully transcribed with full reporting as well. Web chat can be live with an agent, or it can be handled by a chatbot, something that I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. And again, all web chats are fully transcribed with full reporting. More importantly, the customer can escalate a web chat to a voice call or a video call with an agent at any time when needed. Email integration has a wide range of reports and statistics to monitor agent and organization performance. Email queue management will automatically categorize incoming calls and assign to the right agent with priorities, with all SLAs considered, so the emails always go to the best person. Automatic emails can also be sent to manage those responses in a timely manner. And finally, we have social media integration, so we can integrate with Facebook, with Instagram and WhatsApp. It supports sending attachments and pictures, again, with all conversations fully transcribed and fully reportable. It allows you to reply to direct messages in Instagram and Facebook, and coming soon is the ability to reply to live posts as well. As I mentioned, all of these medias can be accessed in one place. And as you can see from the screenshot here, it's nice and simple, but the screenshot doesn't do it justice. Roy's going to do as a demonstration shortly. And also, as you can see, there's even a Daktela mobile app. If people want to use this working remotely or on the go, they can do so as well. But we needed a product that delivered this great feature set, but also seamlessly integrated with the normal back office users. And we've worked really hard with Daktela and Ericsson LG to make sure this is seamlessly integrated into the cloud platform. So Contact for iPECS Cloud allows you to do this. It passes presence or full presence in real time between all users. So if you're a Contact for iPECS Cloud user and you need to pass a call to somebody that isn't a Contact user, you can do that very easily while seeing full presence of their availability as well. Integrations are more important than ever. So Contact for iPECS Cloud has a number of CRM integrations available off the shelf, and there's a full range of bespoke integrations available. You can also seamlessly integrate with Power BI and Google Data Studios, so we can allow your customers to manage all of their data in one place. With the growing importance of APIs, Contact for iPECS Cloud can receive information from any customer management system that has an open API. So effectively, the possibilities are almost endless. If your program has an API, we should be able to integrate with it. And then there's the growing use of AI that I've touched on earlier. So Contact for iPECS Cloud has chatbots and voice bots that interact with customers to automate routine tasks and free up agent time. Chatbots can answer the most common queries via web chat, SMS, or Facebook Messenger. And voice bots can offer the same interaction but over the phone. And this is something that you can add over time. You might not be ready to add AI from day one, but it's a modular product, so this can be added in the future when needed. Before I hand over to Roy to do the demo, let's have a look at the opportunity for contact center today. A contact center is a different type of sale. Take a bit of time to think and understand the customer's pain points. And if you can understand their pain points and the type of interactions they're looking to achieve with their customers, we can point them in the right direction and confident that Contact for iPECS Cloud has the tools to help them overcome and adapt to this changing market. We just wanted to cover 3 objections that we do hear regularly and see that these not necessarily so. So, for example, we speak to many customers that say, contact centers are all large. They're definitely not. Speaking with Daktela, they start from as small as 5 users. One example of a customer I went to recently was a 100-user business. They had an inbound call center for just 5 agents that were taking inbound calls. A perfect example of a small contact center that needed a product beyond the ACD capabilities of the cloud platform. Contact center software isn't always expensive. Many businesses we speak to believe that recruiting more staff will solve their problems, but providing the right tools to increase productivity could potentially even save the business money. And if you've never sold a contact center before, there's a full toolkit to help identify and close these opportunities, from training, from demo support, and obviously a great product behind it. And Steve's going to finish today's presentation with a little bit on how to sell Contact for iPECS Cloud. Let's make the most of the opportunity. If we can show the customer that driving an excellent customer experience is going to be the key to success, and you can see 70% of customers here have said they would spend more money with a company that has excellent customer service. But importantly, we also need to remember the staff. If we can provide a contact center solution that helps the staff work better and increase productivity, then the staff will feel more motivated as well. Just before I hand over to Roy to do the demonstration today, just wanted to summarize really that Contact for iPECS Cloud is seamlessly integrated. It's future-proof, being cloud-based, and you'll always be on the latest level. You can start simple and expand communication channels as the business changes. True omni-channel. One thing I haven't touched on so far is it's fully customizable. So there's an option to brand for your customers, as well as full agent interface customization. Always be up to date, as well as I mentioned, with a cloud-based solution. So we're just going to hand over to Roy now, who's going to take you through a live demonstration for about 20 minutes or so of the product, and then we'll hand back to Steve for a wrap-up. Roy, over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm trying to share my screen at the moment. Hopefully you can see that.
All good, thanks, Roy.
Okay. Anyone who's sort of spoken to me before, especially with Contact for iPECS Cloud, will know that I can talk for England. I could show you things on here for the next 3 hours quite easily. We're going to limit that to 20 minutes. Hopefully I'm going to answer most of your questions. But the first thing to notice, I guess, is the logo. It is customizable right down to the logo and also to the icon within the search bar. So is the background. And as you can see, we've put a slightly different logo on there. The background is customizable. You can put your pictures there. You can put your logos on there. But when all's said and done, and you've signed on to the system, what you're going to get is a system not dissimilar to this. Now, this does look busy, but don't worry. The great thing about the system is it's fully customizable. So on the left-hand side here are a number of different options that this person, a guy we've called David Daktela in the top right-hand side there, he can access absolutely everything. There are going to be some agents, just like Ed said, and some customers who only have a telephone or maybe a telephone and email. And in that case, the left-hand side is going to be greatly reduced for the options available. What I'm going to do is just very, very quickly put a call through just to show you the power of the system straight out of the box. So for argument's sake, I'm putting a call in the background. It's got a built-in IVR. It's got built-in messages. And when the call comes through, I'm going to answer it. Nothing special there maybe, except in this particular case, what we're doing is we're screen popping a HubSpot screen. Now, again, this is HubSpot. This is truly HubSpot. This isn't a screenshot or anything like that. I can go in there and use it. And this is straight out of the box, doing a search on the telephone number that's called. And if I come out of there and go into contacts and just show you it, there'll be some dummy information in there. But it's genuinely done a screen pop. And if I refresh the screen, it remembers my telephone number, does that again. So straight out of the box, integration is built into it, and it's pretty good. We've got on the right-hand side here a number of statuses or wrap-up codes that people would call. Again, you don't have to have these, but it's quite useful. We can wave to the supervisor for assistance. We can turn recording on and off. We can transfer calls. And again, all of the transfer ability, just like making an outbound call, is actually quite intelligent. If I type in Roy, all of the Roys in the system come up. My mobile number when I'm over in Prague, our London offices, etc., etc. And you might say, well, hang on a second, what's Hillary Jen's got to do with Roy? That's because her and her husband live in Royal Ascot. So it does a complete search. Another way of finding out who you want to call is just go into, as Ed mentioned, the presence. So if I knew that, for argument's sake, Lauren was signed on, she's not at the moment on her iPECS soft phone, I could actually transfer a call to her, but right at the moment she's not. So you can see that you can also transfer into different user groups or different parts of the system as well. The whole idea is that the presence will tell you exactly what's going on, not just on contact for iPECS Cloud, but on iPECS itself, so on the PBX. And again, Ed mentioned the work that we've done to integrate the two systems. They work as one. Physically, they're two systems, so to speak, so you don't have to take 100 PBX users and 100 contact users. You can pick and choose what you want, and you can also pick and choose what functionality they have. When you're transferring, obviously you get the ability to do a cold transfer or a blind transfer, but you can also have the ability to do an introduced or a warm transfer. A lot of the competition can't do that. It's second nature to us. So we can actually introduce a call to a back office person sitting on the iPECS PBX and basically say, this customer would like to talk about XYZ. If I'm updating a third party products such as HubSpot, obviously anything I update in here will be available within HubSpot immediately as well. What I am going to do right at the moment is just hang this call up. What that does, it still gives me the opportunity to carry on working within the system. But if I'm happy that I've done everything I want to do, I can press save. Now that was a customized screen, and all of this main screen can be customized as well. At the top, you can see I'm in a wrap-up state. I've only got 10 seconds. It'll then pop me out and put me into another call if there's one available. You can customize that. You can decide how long people get in breaks. You can decide what breaks are there. You can decide what to call them. You can decide on those statuses or wrap-up codes. There's no limit to how many you can do there. Before I put another call through, I'm just going to look at the built-in CRM. The built-in CRM basically can, as you can see here, actually connect into a number of different third-party CRMs. So we've got HubSpot, we've got Act, we've got a number of different ones. We've got MSD, Microsoft Dynamics, we've got Salesforce. But basically, all of these fields, again, are fully customizable. So if you match them up to your Salesforce or to your MSD, Microsoft Dynamics, you can download all of that data into the system, which again means that not only can you do intelligent screen popping with the third party natively, but God forbid, if that system is struggling a little bit, or dare I say the word down, you've still got the ability to bring up customer details, because guess what? The CRM is here. Contact for iPECS is going to be there, and it's fully duplicated. So even if there is a minor problem, guess what? Your customers will never, ever notice it, because we'll cut in with that default backup. So again, let me put another quick call in. This time, maybe I'll try Dynamics. Again, all I'm doing is making the call on my mobile phone. The call has figured out it's a Dynamics call because of the number coming in. And when I pop that screen, it's going to actually pop Microsoft Dynamics. And again, same thing's happened. It's come in, it's done the screen pop, and it's found whoever this is. This is genuinely Dynamics. Admittedly, as it says there, a slightly older version, but it's working. I'll hang up that call immediately in this particular case because I want to show you another feature within the system, and that is simply the ability to customize and do things the way you want it to happen. So if I try and save this now, it's going to bring up an error deliberately. I want my people to put in a status or a wrap up code. And when I do that, it'll bring up all of the telephone ones. So I can't get away with not putting it in there. Of course, if you want to, you don't have to put that in there. But most of the time, people would want to know what the actual disposition or the status of that call was. The last one, just to prove integration, is to show you one that actually is fairly difficult to do, which is Salesforce. The reason that's difficult to do is that basically they don't allow a pop in an iframe. Now, what we can do is pop out to a different system, into a different side. And if I sign on to Salesforce, oops, if I can get the password right, what that will allow us to do is basically pop immediately again. The number's been popped in there and it pops it into a separate window. By the way, that's always the choice. So you don't always have to pop into an iframe if you want to. You can pop into a separate window. You could pop into a window and a separate window into an iframe. You can decide where you're going to put it, and you can open as many different windows as you wish. I mean, I'm just bringing up exchange rates here, but this could be any website, and it's genuine. I mean, these are the exchange rates at the moment. If I change one, it'll actually show you that it's updated straight away. So the ability for us to basically connect with a number of different areas is all about integration. And we have, as Ed's already mentioned, a number of integrations, be that single sign-on via Active Directory or Google, be it HubSpot, as we've seen, Pipedrive, Microsoft Dynamics, both premise and cloud-based, Salesforce we've mentioned, and. But probably the most important integration there is the integration that we've got with the iPECS PBX system to make it a single view and an answer to all of the queries and the ills that your contact center or business is going to have. I'm going to hang that up again. I can put in there different wrap up codes, etc. But at the moment, I'm just going to pop that out and do that. Now, one of the things Ed mentioned as well is WhatsApp. And I apologize. This is my genuine WhatsApp screen. Come up here on the right hand side. What I'll do is I'll fill the screen with it quickly. I don't think there's anything too controversial there, but my family may WhatsApp me at any time. But if I want to talk to the contact center and I just put, I don't know, hi, just to say hello, then what will happen is the system will respond. Obviously, it says welcome to WhatsApp, and then it gives, in this particular case, a number of options. So for argument's sake, if I wanted to know the opening hours, I could simply just put number 3, and it'll bring up the opening hours. If I didn't want to type in the number 3 when the opening hours come up, and I wanted to type in open or any other word you choose, for instance, our out of hours is OOH, makes sense, OOH, it'll bring up our out of hours as well. However, most of the time when you're on WhatsApp, you'll get the answers that you require. But if you don't and you want to speak to someone, I can type in support, or I could just put in a number 1, which I am going to do now, and hit the go button. And what it's going to do is it's automatically going to start talking to someone in the background here. Now, if I switch over to being an agent and I accept that, it's very similar to accepting a telephone call. But basically, I'll get the complete history of what that person's been doing on WhatsApp during this session. So we can see that they said hi. We can see they pressed number 3. We can see everything they've done up to the point where they wanted to talk to somebody. Now, you can have as many different templates as you want. The simple ones, hello and whatever, we could have automated, but then it would be a pretty boring demonstration. So all we're going to do there is pop in, hello, how are you, or whatever. We're also going to say, would you like some info, or whatever it might be. And if I go back to being a customer again, you'll find that all of that information is over here on the right hand side. So it says, hello, how are you, what information would you like to send us, etc., etc. All of the system is fully customizable. So we'll drop that down. And what I'm going to do just quickly is, oops, if I can find the right screen, is bring up a web chat. Now, again, we've put this on a Daktela screen just to show that it's not within the Pragma area. So this is a genuine, if you like, web page. On the right-hand side here, you can see that we've got a name and a telephone number, and then we'll start that chat. This works very, very similar again to WhatsApp. So I might say, what's the opening hours? And again, you could make this look much nicer within WhatsApp, or change the way that the web chat here works. It's going to tell us the opening hours. I might want to say, and you'll see why in a second, but well, what's the weather like? Now, I'm based in Reading at the moment. So if I pop in there, Reading, it's going to tell me what the weather's like in Reading. Now, the reason we do that is it's actually going off to a third party screen. So it's going off to somebody else's information to grab that information and bring it back. It's doing open weather, but that could equally be Salesforce again, or it could be Microsoft Dynamics or HubSpot or Goldmine or. We could do another location. Again, we're based all over the place, but right at the moment, I know Steve is up in Chester, so I'll type in Chester, and hopefully the weather's quite nice up there at the moment. Wind, etc. Okay, it's not too bad. All of that's good stuff, but it may well be that what I want to do is have a look at maybe what's going on with my query, with my ticket. And if I type in there, and I'm just going to put a random number, I hope that's got something in there. 126 is our help desk number. And as you can see in this particular case, David has answered that call, and the information is services and awaiting communication. Sal is agreed. Again, you have full control over what your clients can see. And obviously that can be controlled via ID and verification. So with ID and V, I wouldn't be able to look at anybody's tickets except for my own. All good stuff, but at the end of the day, I still haven't got quite what I wanted. So I want to be connected to support. Again, it could be sales, it could be. Now in the background, and you haven't heard this, I got a bing quite loudly in my headset. And as you can see, we're now up here going to answer the web chat. I've still got WhatsApp open here, so I could still be talking on WhatsApp. By the way, I could have a telephone call, I could have Instagram, I could have emails, all sorts. It's omni-channel. You can have as much coming through there as you wish. But right at this moment, as you can see, I'm going to get the history again above. So what did they do? They asked about the weather in Reading and Chester, and they asked about that particular ticket, etc. Again, all of the things you'd expect with various thank yous, etc. But what I might want to do is basically do co-browsing. Maybe the customers said in a message, I'm struggling to see something, can you help me? As an agent, I click on there, simply done. Over here at the customer's point of view, you can see we've got this extra box appeared called Open Co-Browsing. And when I open Co-Browsing, that's exactly what it does. It'll basically give us the opportunity to turn a camera on, to basically, if you want, share your screen, to turn it into a voice call. And of course, the last one is exit. Now, if I do actually click on there, that's me live as a customer. It's going to be a little difficult to show you both ends of this because we're also using the camera, obviously, for the teams as well. But if I go back to being an agent just for a second, I could activate the camera here as well. Now, in the background, normally what you'd get is the customer's picture, but that's the agent. So there is certainly a way of making sure that that customer is basically assisted, and everything they get is exactly what they want. From a point of view of how often you can do this and how many different sessions you can have, it's as many as you wish. There is no limit. And again, at the end of this particular call, what I might want to do is say goodbye. But if I want to, I could actually send a message. And what I mean by send a message is when I say as a customer goodbye and I want to stop, it's going to say to me, would you like a transcript of the chat above? And because I've already entered my email address, I could click on the little aeroplane symbol there and get the transcript, or I could start the chat again. What I might want to do is set up an automatic call, and maybe I want them to call me at home, whatever the number may be. I want it today. So if I click on there, it knows the time is 3 o'clock. It knows we're open until 7. So in each one of these half-hour slots from 6:30, it'll arrange to call me. If I was to select tomorrow, for instance, it'll automatically know as well that we open tomorrow morning at 8 and go right the way down. And if I was to select that, and if I was to click call me, and I'm not going to at the moment, tomorrow it will automatically call me on that number. And if there's an agent available, great. If there's not, it'll wait until an agent is available. Or you could use our robocaller option, which doesn't need an agent. It's agentless dialing, and you could play a message or. So there's lots and lots of functionality within the system that we can go through. Within the ticketing side of things, and I'm coming to the end because I know I'm running out of time, we've got a complete history in here. And if we look at this particular one, number 126, this will give us a complete history of everything that's gone on with this particular ticket. Everything from an SMS, a call, an email. If I was to send an email, it can put in there a complete template, which I can show you in a second. And of course, WhatsApp, as we saw just now. Really easy to send an email or an SMS. And guess what? If you're going to do an SMS, it's going to look very, very similar to everything else that an agent's done so far. So I can start a chat, which is a one-on-one text message chat, or I can send a message, and then when the customer replies, just like a telephone call, it'll go to anyone who has the authority and the rights to do it. So again, it's going to look and feel the same way. I'm not going to bother responding to that in the interests of time. But as you can see, it's automatically figured out who I am. It's automatically, if you've put a company in there, told you what that is, and it's automatically given you an info on the ticket as well. All of that information can be changed. All of the current status can be changed by categories. So again, the system is really a completely customizable solution. And we can see here that we could have drop down boxes with, if you're going to do travel or whatever it may be, is a visa required, and so on and so forth. And all of this can be automatically put into an email, which again can be done via templates. So we're trying to make it as easy as we possibly can. And you know, the email may be, hi everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this demo today. Why don't we arrange a meeting? My typing isn't very quick, and I apologize. I want to write so much more. In fact, I mean, with the obvious bit of spell check, which is included, that's pretty good, but it really could be so much more professional than that. So what I might do is just highlight it and do exactly that. I'm going to use ChatGPT to make it more professional. So instead of hi everyone, it's put in there greetings everyone. Still not great, so maybe we'll make it a little bit longer. It'll take a little bit more time, but it'll use those 4 lines and only those 4 lines, and the fact that I've written this sort of thing in the past before to actually produce quite a detailed email based on 4 lines. And again, you can use templates as well. So the last thing to say is that the real-time information is all there. You can see exactly what's going on within the system. Yep, we can see who signed on. We can change people. We can make things happen. We know that we've got a couple of items up here, which are down here, and they're real-time. I can see what's going on with people down here. I'm not happy that Jim's not available at the moment. So actually, I'm going to go in and I'm going to make him available, whether he likes it or not. So he's going to start taking calls. You know, there's lots and lots of information in there. Standard reporting, there's an absolute plethora of different reports. I mean, you really can find out all sorts of information within the system. I'll go back a couple of months and I'll make sure this is quick. Just to give you an idea, it breaks everything down within a graph, but it also breaks it down into the days below, which can all be exported. All of those reports are available, but if you really wanted to, you can even go into the detail of the report and find out all sorts of information. And using the advanced filter, if you want to, you can go into even more depth. All of that information is great. It also tells you exactly, for argument's sake, what your people are doing. So if I look at, you know, what's going on today and who's doing what and where they're doing it, it may well be that I want to look at an individual. And let's say that's David, who I'm signed in as. If I click on David, that's going to tell me today exactly what David's been doing. So from a management point of view, a supervisory point of view, everything is broken down. And if I look at something on here, for argument's sake, there was a call at 14:45. And if I click on it, it's actually going to bring up the information that I want to see. If I click on here, it's going to bring up maybe a history of whether the call was a direct call in or whether they pressed an IVR button. I can go in and listen to the recording. I can do some QA. there's an awful lot of information available in the system. I think I've just about reached the end of my sort of 20 minutes or so there. I'm more than happy via Ed and the guys to give you more information on contact for iPECS. But right at the moment, I think I could well have saturated you with information. I might just hand on to Steve and then we can take questions at the end.
Roy, that was really good. Thank you. Just one thing, if you wouldn't mind showing the learning capability where everyone can see the different bits where they can, learn about the product, tutorials and so on just before you finish, that'd be really great.
That's a great idea, Ed. I'm glad you reminded me. My apologies. I'll just take a couple of seconds on that. Built into the system, it has a full academy. You can actually look at various different things within here. Agent basics, these are all bite-sized videos. And you even get a test and a certificate at the end of it. There's also advanced skills in there where you can set up integrations and the like, and global settings and tickets and whatever. You're talking about 50 or 60 different videos available, as well as full documentation within the system, which breaks it all down. And if I did a search on there, it would give you all of the information you need. And of course, it also gives you a completely open API. So if you want to write to other things, you can do that. It'll even break it down into the different fields that are available. And any fields you've made up, maybe fields that you've made up from Salesforce or Dynamics or whatever, are instantly available within here as well, because it'll do that under basically a custom tab. So all of that information is available. I won't go into it now, but it also gives you a roadmap, tells you the state of our services, which actually I don't mind saying that, because you know what? UK always 100%, because we've got a backed up system, and of course we've got the power of iPECS behind us as well. Sorry, Ed, was that enough?
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect, Roy. Yeah, thank you. And while I've still got you, there's one question in the chat that we are not 100% sure of. I think the answer is yes, but you'll be able to confirm. Presumably we can send SMS to multiple numbers at the same time.
The answer is normally yes with us, because if it's not there as a standard, we can also do that as a custom job. In this particular case, yes, it's available as a standard. We have a built-in SMS server. You can import a number of items and basically send them out. And that can be as easily done as a spreadsheet, or you can automate it as well. Absolutely, yeah, we can do that.
Brilliant, thank you. And final question on that is, do we support short code SMS numbers?
We have looked at short code SMS. We can do that, and we have done it indeed. So the answer again is yes. We can also do one-way SMS where you put a name in there, so it would always come from Pragma or from iPECS Cloud or wherever you want it to come from. Or you can put a number in there and obviously get a response as well. So yep, the answer is yes, we can do that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Roy.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Again. Yeah, I was going to say, and I'll let Steve carry on.
Thanks, Roy.
Which I think you've probably done already.
So we're just going to hand over to Steve now to take us through the next part of the presentation. So Steve, over to you.
Thanks very much, Ed, and thanks, Roy, for that introduction to the system. I think the key thing I want to try and get across and I only have 3 or 4 slides, is how to look at selling the contact center solution. And I think it's important to, first of all, understand that selling a contact center solution is often different from maybe some of the technologies you've already sold, in that a contact center is front and center of most organizations' customer communication strategy. So it touches lots of different parts of the business and influences and engages with lots of different systems. So I think it's pretty important that we adopt maybe a different approach to how we actually sell the solution. We coined a marketing phrase that we consider our system as one app for all of your customer communications, which it truly is. But let's first of all look at the challenges that the people you're selling to probably face today. Most contact centers are today running understaffed. That's a consequence of perhaps Brexit. It's a consequence of people retiring from the workforce. And it's really a consequence of a whole series of financial conditions that apply in the UK at the moment, which means that more often than not, contact centers are struggling to fill the headcount, which is causing them a problem. So they're constantly trying to bring new people in and keep new people. So that's a challenge. What's also a challenge on the flip side to that is we as users, and every one of us, don't forget, is a customer of a contact center. We ourselves are much more demanding on how we want our service to be addressed, how we expect our queries to be answered. We want them to be done quickly, efficiently, and we want the person who we're speaking to or engaging with through another medium to have the answers at their fingertip at all times. So we as people are far more demanding. Linked to that, the employees within a contact center are probably far more demanding as well. The pandemic generally meant a sea change in the way contact centers are run, with a lot of people working from home. So now a lot of contact center employees want to work from home. So if you imagine you've got your contact center that's struggling to hire people, has demanding employees and demanding customers, that in itself is a real challenge. Add to that, as you can see on the bottom left, contact centers have always had issues with cost. Most contact centers are probably one of the biggest expenses of a company because they involve most people, and that in itself is the most expensive part of it. So contact center managers and operational management are always under pressure to reduce costs from financial parts of the business. So we've got another challenge there for the contact center. And finally, as if that wasn't enough challenges for running a contact center, the way we all communicate is changing. And if you think about the way we communicate today with a contact center, and you imagine how we're going to communicate with contact centers in the future, it's likely to be radically different. I have an 8-year-old grandson who is so, how can I put this, so able to use technology today that obviously for somebody my age didn't exist, is frankly astounding. And I think the pace of change in customer communication is literally astonishing. And a lot of the things that we're talking about on things like artificial intelligence are only going to exacerbate that change and increase it. So if we could move on to the next slide, please, Ed. I've been working in the contact center industry since 1989. In fact, when I started, it was called the call center industry. So we've morphed into contact centers as we moved through the internet, and we've moved through to using different methods of communicating with our customers. But one of the things I want to share with you is the things I've learned over the best part of 30 odd years of selling contact center solutions. Most people who are looking at contact center solutions will choose a contact center solution provider based on a number of key criteria. Now, you may well find that this doesn't cover 100% of all criteria you'll ever come across, but it's going to cover the vast majority of them. And what people will look at is functionality. Functionality of a contact center obviously is key. It's also one of the easiest things to sell because a lot of people can say, we can do that functionality. And sometimes it's very hard to differentiate how your functionality works compared to the competition, because on the face of it, they both do the same thing, but one will do it probably far easier than the other one and far better. And it's, as a salesperson, it's the responsibility to try and get under the skin and find out exactly what functionality does the end user want before you start presenting your solution. Functionality that's very difficult to deploy is also not very good. A contact center agent can kill your sale literally in a moment. If you deploy a contact center solution and the people using that contact center solution find it really hard to use and really hard to deploy, negativity very, very quickly comes to the surface. And once one agent becomes negative, I guarantee 5 agents will become negative, and then 50 agents will become negative. And all of a sudden, everything that goes wrong in that building will be down to your system, even if the lights go out. So making it easy to deploy is very important, and getting the buy-in of the people who are going to be using it is important. Goes without saying, cost. You need to align the cost to the purchaser's budget as much as possible. That's always going to be a factor, as is flexibility. Most people don't necessarily always understand what they want from a contact center. I've been involved in many, many instances where I've sold contact centers on 3 features. And then as they get comfortable with those 3 features, they add 3 more, and then they add 3 more, and they add 3 more. And the beauty of a contact center is it's a great sales tool for salespeople to be able to add value to a sale, sell the customer what they want today, but the flexibility of solutions such as this allow you to add value to that sale through its lifetime. People also buy on culture. We've always got the expression that, people buy from people they like, but it's also the company. The company culture that you present to that organization is very important. Do you listen? Do you look after them? Do you care about them using your system? Do you want them to get the best return on their investment? Do you wrap them in cotton wool? Do you make sure that you're always there to support them? So culture in a contact center is far more important than some of the other technologies that you may have sold in the past, because it's very much a contact center, relies very heavily on the whole touch and feel of the organization they're buying from. Gut feel. Quite often people will buy contact centers because they just like the look of it. That sometimes is a weird decision-making criteria, but you need to take into account the fact that the look and feel of a system and the gut feel somebody has about the contact center will often influence its final decision. Every contact center we tend to sell now has a level of integration. It will integrate to, could be a CRM system, it could be to a EPOS system, an e-commerce solution, any form of back office solution. What the contact center does, because it sits in the center of an organization, generally has to integrate with other platforms that are already there. The customer is not going to replace their existing platforms just because your system can't work with it. You have to bend your system to work with their platform. And the open API that's associated with Contact for iPECS makes that so much easier. As a cloud-based solution, resilience is key. We pride ourselves on the way we've created our architecture to make it as resilient as it possibly can, with multiple backups of data centers, different ways of communicating with the data center. So we pride ourselves on, as Roy touched on with the presentation, the resilience and the way we measure our resilience system uptime. So it's a very, very important factor. Losing a contact center for more, even for a few minutes, puts serious risk on any business that is using that contact center. Ed, please. So I think what's important is when you're selling the contact center, on the basis that, it touches every part of the organization more often than not, you have to create the message to the person who's buying that has to resonate with what they're looking for. Now, if you go to a finance person, the kind of message you're going to say to that finance person is, well, okay, our solution, because of the way it operates, is most likely going to reduce the number of suppliers you have and then reduce the costs and make it easier to manage. If you go to an operations or customer service person, bearing in mind what I've said about they're probably under-resourced, you're saying you're giving them a technology solution that allows them to do more for their customers, often with less resources. If you're doing to a sales solution, because don't forget, our solution is the full outbound dialer as well, has full range of dialing options like predictive or progressive or preview and even robotic. You present to a sales outbound contact center that actually this technology will allow you to upsell to existing customers and potentially find new ones. Because the system has the ability to track things on things like Instagram and Facebook, etc., and we'll go through all those different channels, it gives you great insights into what your customers are thinking about you through all these different channels. You add that to some of the ability for us to do speech analytics, to analyze the data and do transcription services. It allows your marketing team to develop a really good view of what the customer thinks about you as a customer. And always, as always, if it's an IT technology or compliance solution, they're generally very much focused on the idea that, okay, they've got limited IT resources. So let's make sure that we don't have to worry about where we put the servers and the uptime of the servers. That's all done with by the partner, i.e. in this case, Pragma, through ourselves. All they need to focus their resources on is where they're going to be most beneficial to the organization. And if you're selling to the very highest level to the CEO, MD, we tend to find that the best pitch is, it's the future flexibility. Most CEOs or MDs are thinking about long-term or medium to long-term. And our solution will basically allow them to buy today a platform that will support their business for the future. I've said quite a lot in very brief period of time, in 10 or 15 minutes, about how important it is to understand the customer and how it is vital that you get to understand what the business drivers are and what the customer is looking for. If you just get an RFP from a customer saying, I want a contact center solution, and you respond in that RFP with no real discussion, it's harder to win because you haven't really got an understanding of what it is driving the customer who's created that RFP. It's much better to get in early and try and have those conversations with as many parts of the business as you possibly can to show that you are interested in learning about their customer. And we put together, along with along with Pragma, a partner sales guide. This is an 8 or 9 page document which is in a PDF file, and gives you the opportunity to look at the kind of people who buy the solution, the kind of messages you want to do, the kind of things you consider when you're trying to sell a contact center solution. And it's very generic from that point of view. It's not aimed at our product specifically. It's aimed at allowing you to develop some of the skill sets and some of the techniques and tips that we've learned in the time we've been selling this solution, and using those in your own sales situation. Roy's already mentioned the training aids, the videos. Typically, these are for users of the system. You know, if I'm an agent and I want to know how to do something on the system, then I would go through a training video. But equally, they are applicable for pre-sales and salespeople. You know, if you want to understand how a system works, then there's nothing better than just watching a video. The videos are all designed to be short videos, a couple of minutes long, and it will give you an insight into how the system works very easily and very simply. So what I've really tried to do in the 15 minutes since Roy did the whistle-stop tour of the system is to tell you what support is available for you. And there's a whole series of things that the Pragma salespeople will be able to provide to you. They pull a lot of collateral together to do that. And we're constantly developing collateral and videos that will be made available for your use. So really, on that, I'd really pass back to Ed to see how he wishes to close this session.
Thanks, Steve. That was really useful. And just to reiterate what Steve said, all of the information that we're creating, with Daktela is going to be accessed in the Pragma Hub. So there's a screenshot here of how you can access it. If you go to Library in the Hub, there's a whole section on Contact for iPECS Cloud, and the Partner Sales Guide that Steve mentioned and other collateral can all be accessed in there. And as we add more collateral and recording of sessions like today, they'll all go into the Hub for you to access. But currently in progress at the moment is a number of bite-sized videos. If you need to send a customer a 2 or 3 minute video on how the WhatsApp integration works, those videos have been done at the moment. And of course, there's a full overview available as well. So just to summarize really everything that we've said today, and reiterate really what we covered earlier, it's fully integrated into iPECS Cloud. We've done a lot of work to do that, to guarantee that it works out of the box with things like full presence pass-through. It is a future-proof solution, so you can start with just voice, and you can add as many other types of media as you wish, or an agent can have all types of media from day one if they want. It really is flexible, but you can start simple and expand as the business changes. You saw from Roy's demonstration that it's a true omni-channel solution. It's fully customizable. Again, you saw at the start of Roy's demonstration, there's an option to brand it for customers, as well as branding the full agent interface. And being a cloud solution, we ensure that it's always up to date and always on the latest version of contact software. So that just leaves me really to say thank you for taking the time to join today. Actions from today is please reach out to me or your Pragma account manager if you want a more in-depth session and a more in-depth demo in terms of what Roy showed you today. We'll keep adding that collateral to the hub as it grows. And of course, reach out to your account manager for full pricing or any help with any quotes or any opportunities that you might have. I don't think, I'll just check before we finish whether there's any more questions in the chat. So bear with me a second. So just one from from Malcolm. Is the customization mentioned done by the installer or by the end user? It can be done by either. You saw that there's a lot of self-learning videos available. So if the customer wants to get really hands-on and with the product, they can, or it can be managed by you as a provider. It's really up to you and the opportunity that you're working on. I don't think we've got any more questions. So just wanted to say thank you again for your time. Oh, hold on, we've got another one. Does the solution work with physical handsets? Yes, it does. So if the user or the agent that's using this software, there's 3 options really. They can use a physical handset, they can use iPECS 1 if they prefer to use a soft client, or there's also a Daktela web RTC client as well if they prefer to use that, which in turn allows you to use a Daktela mobile app as well. So there's a variety of options really in terms of the extensions that people can use. I'll just do one more call for questions, but it doesn't look like there's any more coming through. So appreciate you all taking the time to join. So one more question. So I might need Roy or Steve's help on this. How can the user switch the call routing to their agent?
Yeah, I can answer that one, Ed. There's a number of different ways that you can route a call. It can be to a queue, it can be to an individual, it can be to a group of individuals. So can you switch the call route into an agent? Absolutely, you can. We could even route a call coming in. Obviously, everything comes in from the Pragma iPECS system, but you could, if you wanted to, even route that outbound to I don't know, a mobile phone or to another location if you so desired. So a number of different ways that you can route things out. And what we tend to do with our clients is sit down with, of course, Ed and his guys, making sure that we all understand what's required and then design the system with you. Certainly in the first few instances, that would be the case until you're ready to design and implement by yourselves. So the answer is yes, we can route it a number of different ways.
Brilliant. Thank you, Roy. But yeah, as I mentioned, please follow up with your account manager if there's anything else, any help with quotes and opportunities. We'd be more than happy to help and really excited to get this product out into the marketplace. So yeah, thank you for joining today. We're just about coming to the end of the time now, so I'll let you all get on with your afternoons. But thank you very much and hope you found it useful. Thanks, Roy. Thanks, Steve.